Hello, my name is Junko Beardslee, and I am a fashion designer and a confidence stylist. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about my custom fashion process. I've been making custom wedding dresses for many years. That's perhaps what I'm best known for here in the Finger Lakes region of New York State. And I am coming to you live from my home base studio right now. And like I said, I wanted to share with you process. I believe that everybody deserves custom fashion. We all have such unique and different bodies, and I think that that is certainly worthy of celebrating. And it's a really fascinating and fun process, and you can play as large or small role in it as you wish. I have worked with clients who know exactly what they want, and we really just work together to make their dream dress come true. And then I have other clients who have an idea of how they want to feel or an emotion that they want to evoke. And then we kind of just work together. I am an experienced and trained designer, so I offer several different types of communication to share with you the ideas that I have. Definitely, fashion illustration is a very common one that I use. Like I said, every client is different, so it works differently for everybody, and that's really a lot of the beauty and the fun of it. This is a service that takes between 4 and 12 months, depending on scheduling, and I do book out, so it's great to just start the conversation and see if we could work together, if that would be a good fit. So a little bit about the process. I have an intake form that I share with potential clients that just helps me get to know you and your event and your fashion project ideas. After the initial intake, we have what I call a spirit style consultation, usually conducted by a Zoom. And I with your intake, have prepared a style assessment, which is something that's really fun for me to do. I do that in a couple of different ways. If you're willing to share images of yourself with me that reflect your personal style and things that you like that you have worn, that's wonderful. I'm also really happy to just do a little bit of Instagram and Facebook stalking, provided you offer up your handles and are okay with me doing that. So the style assessment is something that we talk about in that spirit style consultation, and we really just do a deep dive in what you're looking for, what you're hoping for. I really am pro body positivity and diving into conversations about your relationship with your body and all sorts of really good, juicy goodness. I think that addressing the whole human is really important when we are dressing them. So we talk about expectations and desires and event. And if there is one, you don't necessarily have to have a specific garment created for a specific event. It just is that I do work with an awful lot of brides, and that is pretty common. So after we just have this initial conversation, we schedule some meetings. Those happen in a couple of different places, usually just right within the Hector, New York area in the Finger Lakes. I'm on the east side of Seneca Lake. My home studio is where I make all the magic happen. I do not have a studio right now to receive clients, but we meet up in really fun, comfortable, clean, open, beautiful spaces right here in the Finger Lakes. So that's always approved and discussed. And our initial meetings are going to be a little bit more talking about ideas, taking some measurements, looking at some fabrics. It's a very fluid and conversational experience. And then really, after we have an idea that's been approved to get started on, I dive in. So sometimes I'll be presenting you 3 to 5 sketches, or we're like creating together on a more like loose base until you actually see something. So some of the skills that I incorporate are my artistic skills, and I'm an expert fitter. I am a pattern drafter. I'm a draper. I do everything soup to nuts. I source fabric. I can focus on sustainable fabrics. That's one of my most one of the things that I'm most passionate about is sustainability and style. I work with a lot of organic cotton. That's almost always a underlayer of anything that I create. I think that like the closest fabric to your body is definitely the most important. But that being said, I create all sorts of different things with all sorts of different fabrics. And once we've gotten through the measurements and the pattern drafting and draping, that's a lot of really technical work on my end. So oftentimes we'll get this really exciting idea like developed, and I have to hit the books and do the math and get a lot of the pre-work done in creating the pattern. The pattern is really key, and that's something that I go back to and adjust a few times throughout the process. So I start with my initial pattern, and then I create a prototype. And like I said, sustainability is something that is important to me. So a lot of times I'll like use fabrics that I have on hand, or I'll use fabrics that I think might be something I could use in the future. Generally, a prototype and a sample is created out of muslin, and it's saved until it's destroyed. So instead of doing that, sometimes I will turn a sample or a prototype into another garment that somebody else could wear. Maybe it's you also. All of my clients get first dibs on any of their prototypes and samples if they want to have the process leading up to their final design. If they want to have any of those other pieces, they're all yours. That being said, sometimes they're a little funny looking. I have a couple of examples here. Sometimes they're made with pink or green and not necessarily the same fabric, but I like to work with something that's going to be similar to the final product. So this pink tulle skirt was a prototype for something that was going to be a white tulle skirt. And this green dress, this was the prototype of a wedding dress that was going to be a white dress. So that would be like, prototype is basically the rough draft of a dress. So it's not going to have, sometimes it's not going to have finished seams. It might not have a closure. It might not even have a zipper in it in any way. And sometimes it is a little bit more finished, depending design itself. That is more or less important in this very early rough draft phase. And from the prototype phase, the client will come and try it on. So you might be trying something on that feels like a little bit weird. But like I said, it's just a rough draft. So we take notes, we do a fitting, and then I go back and create something that is a little bit more like similar to the same fabric. And this is the first step in the sampling process with me. So this is a sample of a wedding dress, and this is a sample of a wedding dress. This one has the more traditional muslin skirt because the skirting of this was something that didn't need to be draped differently. So there are a couple of samples, and it is common for me to make a dress up to from 3 to 5 times before we have the final dress. So there's several fittings. I have a very strong focus on fit and comfort and getting that fit just right. It's really important to do a lot of fittings. So it's a lot of fun to do that. And you can make as many or as few decisions about it throughout the process. And with my intake forms at the beginning, I really outline everything so that we have a really clear path forward, knowing what's important to you. And what's important to you is important to me. If you're interested in having a custom creation designed just for you, please visit my website, themisandthread.com. That's ThemisandThread.com. and thread. Themis is the goddess of justice, and she's a pretty badass babe, just like you. So I would love to be working with you. Please check out the site and reach out anytime. Thanks so much.